Do you love silly stories for kids? Why not consider joining our family? You can even get a very special message from one of your favourite silly stories for kids characters. Head over to the website to find out more. It's your support that helps us to continue to make exciting stories and more crazy content.
Did somebody say crazy?
Oh, Pimpin, no. One day, 3 little kids named Ethan, Zeke, and Mima were very excited because today was Take Your Kids to Work Day, and their dad was going to be taking them into his office. The kids were very excited and they were outside having a little bit of a play before it was time to go. While they were playing in the garden, Ethan spotted something different. Zeke? Yeah, Ethan? Can you see that fuzzy little orange patch over there? Yeah. The boys walked over and had a close look. Mima came over as well to see what the boys were looking at. They looked carefully. Fuzzy, orange. Said Ethan. Don't touch it! How come? Said Zeke. Oh, but it looks so fluffy, says Mima. No, don't touch it, said Ethan. I know what this is. What is it? Said Zeke. Do you remember that story about Fizzy Wizzler? Oh, said Zeke. Fizzy Wizzler. I know Fizzy Wizzler, said Mima as she started to spin around the backyard. Woo! She said as she spun. Yeah, I think this might be him, said Ethan. Well, what do we do then, said Zeke. I've got an idea. Ethan reached down and instead of tapping the fuzzy orange thing, he grabbed onto it with both hands. Fizzy Wizzler popped up and tried to fizz and whiz away, but Ethan had a very good grasp of his hair. Eventually, Fizzy Wizzler got tired and slowed down.
What's going on?
He said as he looked at Ethan. Hi, are you Fizzy Wizzler?
How did you know?
Said Fizzy Wizzler. Well, we've heard about you, said Zeke. Yeah, said Mima. We've heard all about you. We know exactly what you do. Oh, that's why I knew, said Ethan, you would cause lots of chaos.
Well, that is my job,
said Fizzy Wizzler. Well, not today, it's not. As the kids were talking to Fizzy Wizzler, their dad called out, All right, kids, jump in the car. It's time to go. Okay, Dad, they called out. What do we do with him, said Zeke. Well, if we put him down, he might fizz away. I know, said Ethan. I'll pop him in my pocket. That's a good idea, said Zeke. So Ethan popped Fizzy Wizzler in his pocket and did up the zip. And the 3 kids headed into the car. When they were all in the car heading to their dad's work, they were excited again. They loved going into the office for Bring Your Kid to Work Day. They were talking to their dad about all the fun things they might get to do. They liked saying hello to the people at the reception and the other workers at the office. It was such an exciting time. And in no time at all, they had made it all the way to the office, and the kids jumped out of the car. But because of all the fun questions, Ethan had forgotten what he had put in his pocket. The kids walked into the office and the lady at the reception waved and greeted them hello. The kids were all very excited. They even got to have a special lolly out of a lolly jar. They were so happy. All right, kids, come into my office, said their dad. They walked in with their dad. All right, here's some chairs and you guys can do some pretend work over here for a minute. I've just got to duck out to a quick meeting. Can you do some colouring or something? Sure, said the kids. So they set up with their papers and their pencils and their pens and they started colouring and drawing houses and all kinds of things. It was so much fun. As they were working away, Ethan was trying to think of what to draw next. While he was thinking, he reached inside of his pocket and accidentally tapped something on the head. Uh-oh, said Ethan. Before he knew what was going on, Fizzy Wizzler popped out of his pocket and burst into the office. No! Yelled the kids as Fizzy Wizzler fizzed straight out the door of their dad's little office and burst into the main area. He started blasting through the middle of all the paperwork, throwing things everywhere. He went over to the front reception desk and buzzed so fast that the phones all got tangled up. Nobody knew what to do. They were racing around trying to swat this fuzzy little orange thing. It was complete and utter chaos in the office. Everyone's desk had been spun around and tipped over, and all the pens and pencils were flying around in the air. Fizzy Wizzler fizzed past the kids as they dove to catch him and went into the supply closet. Uh-oh, said Ethan. Big uh-oh, said Zeke. This could be interesting, said Mima. And as they were watching, the door of the supply closet burst open once more, and there was Fizzy Wizzler, completely covered in paper clips and pens and business cards and all kinds of stationery. He fizzed slowly out into the middle. What's he going to do, said Ethan.
This is my special super fizz move.
Uh-oh, said the kids. Hide, everybody, they yelled. All the workers dove behind their desks as Fizzy Wizzler started to spin as quickly as he could. As he spun, all the bits and pieces that were attached to him started flying around the office. They were blasting against the walls and the doors and getting stuck in the ceiling. It was an amazing sight to see. Some new customers tried to come in through the door, and as they did, pens and paper clips came zooming straight towards their head. Wow, they said, as they ducked out the way. This office is crazy, said the lady. I like it, said the man. They've got real vigor. The kids were running around trying to catch Fizzy Wizzler, jumping from desk to desk and diving through the air. They even have kids working so hard. What a great way to learn to be such a hard worker. You go, kids. You'll succeed one day, said the man. We're trying, said Ethan. We better succeed soon, said Zeke, or else this office will be destroyed, said Mima. Well, I guess we'll come back a little bit later. We look forward to doing business with these guys, said the man. Oh, are you sure, said the lady. Definitely. They work so hard, he said as they walked back out the door, and the kids kept running around trying to catch Fizzy Wizzler. Mima jumped through the air and she grabbed onto his feet. I've got him, she said, but Fizzy Wizzler was spinning with too much speed. All of a sudden, there was Mima spinning around the office with Fizzy Wizzler. Fizz, 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 fizz. Wah! She said as she was zooming around through above all of the tables. Meanwhile, their dad was in the middle of a very important meeting in one of the meeting rooms, and he had no idea what was going on. This meeting's going a little bit longer than expected, he said to one of the people he worked with. Can you go grab some biscuits and things for the kids? I'd hate for them to get hungry. Oh, sure. So the other person moved out of the office and went towards the kitchen, and as they started walking back towards the main office area, there were the kids. Mima was hanging onto Fizzy Wizzler's feet, getting swung around the room, and Ethan and Zeke were jumping all over the place trying to grab him. What's going on? Fizzy Wizzler saw the plate of biscuits.
I'm hungry,
he said, as he fizzed straight towards the biscuits and blasted the plate everywhere. The biscuits went flying around the room and kept landing in all the workers' mouths. Oh, ooh, yum, tasty. Oh, Monte Carlo, my favorite. The kids were laughing as the biscuits were flying and Fizzy Wizzler was zooming. As Fizzy Wizzler continued to fly through the sky, Ethan and Zeke jumped from two separate desks and dove across, and they both tapped him on the shoulder at the same time.
Oh, you've managed to stop me,
he said. Thank goodness, said Mima as she lay on the floor, dizzy from all the spinning. The kids looked around the room. What are we going to do now, said Ethan. I don't know, said Zeke. Just then, their dad finished his meeting and came out of the meeting room. What happened here? He said. Everybody was climbing out from behind their desks to look up and see what was going on. And there, sitting in the middle of the office, were the three kids, holding one orange, tiny, fuzzy-haired man.
Hello,
said Fizzy Wizzler. Who are you, said their dad.
I'm Fizzy Wizzler,
he said. What's a Fizzy Wizzler? Well, said Ethan, he fizzes and whizzes and destroys all kinds of things. What's he doing here, said their dad. Said Zeke. Ethan found him at home and was trying to stop him, and so he put him in his pocket, and then we forgot he was in there, and then he got out. Yeah, sorry, Dad, said Mima. Oh, well, it wasn't on purpose, said their dad, but what are we going to do? How are we ever going to fix this? Well, you got to find his brother, said Ethan. Yeah, said Zeke. He has a brother named Wizzy Fizzler who fixes everything. He's normally near where Fizzy Wizzler is. Well, where did you find Fizzy Wizzler? Back at our house, said Zeke. Oh no, said their dad. We don't have time to go home and collect him. I've got another meeting soon. We're trying to sell a house. I got an idea, said Mima. What's your idea? Out of her pocket, she pulled a fuzzy, blue-haired man. Mima! Yeah, I found him when we were looking at Fizzy Wizzler. He looked like lots of fun, so I decided I was going to keep him. Why didn't you bring him out earlier, said Zeke. I forgot. Well, how does it work, said their dad. Just tap him on the head, said Ethan. Oh, so their dad tapped Wizzy Fizzler on the head. Wizzy Fizzler looked around the room.
My brother's been here, hasn't he?
Yes, said Ethan. We have a meeting coming up very soon. Do you think you can fix it?
I can always fix it,
said Wizzy Fizzler.
I suggest everybody hides.
So everybody in the whole office went into the one meeting room that wasn't destroyed and watched through the glass windows to see what would happen. As they watched, Wizzy Fizzler went to work. He whizzed around the whole office and everything started getting put back where it was meant to be. The desks got flipped back over and all the papers got put back in their correct piles. The paper clips even got put back in their boxes and the staples all got rearranged back into their right stacks. Everything got placed back where it was meant to be. And in no time at all, Wizzy Fizzler whizzed back over to the door of the meeting room.
Can somebody tap my shoulder, please?
Said Wizzy Fizzler. The kid's dad reached out and tapped him on the shoulder.
Thank you. I'll see you later,
said Wizzy Fizzler, as he walked out the door and trundled away.
Come on, Fizzy,
he said.
See you kids later,
said Fizzy Wizzler. Bye, said the kids, as Wizzy Fizzler and Fizzy Wizzler walked off out of the office. Just then, the people that had been in at the beginning walked back in. I told you, these kids are super hardworking. Look at this place, said the man. It was spotlessly clean. The lady looked around. She couldn't believe her eyes. Kids, how did you do all this, she said. Well, said Ethan, I don't think you'd believe us, even if we told you. And that is the end of the story.
This episode is brought to you by Fizzy Wizzler Stationery Company. Do you need paper clips or staples or pens or textures? Come to the Fizzy Wizzler Stationery Company and we will deliver it ourselves to every single corner of your office. We hope that you've been enjoying the silly stories for kids. Make sure to leave a review wherever you find your podcast and tell your friends as well. This has been me, Fizzy Wizzler.
And me, Sam. We'll see you soon.